of course, I want you to leave when it's dangerous, but the red flags are already there. So when you know the red flags, you can only imagine. You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Just leave me alone. You know, and now you got kids hanging in the balance.
Yes.
Have you started?
I haven't really,
No.
but I might as well have.
Okay.
But we'll.
I already started the video.
Did you?
So you can perfect your craft, sir.
Let's see.
Oh shoot! Here we go. Not with you today.
Well, today Ashley and I decided that we wanted to put together something that was going to give us an advantage in dating and relationships. And so we, conversed and came up with the title, Fix My Picker. And so when you thinking about relationships and stuff, and first thing people will say is, well, man, I guess my picker's broken. How long before we put some more batteries in your picker? How long we decide to fix it. So what I wanted to discuss today was the actual problem with the picker is the fact that we enter into trauma bonds versus a relationship. And when we enter into trauma bonds, we are actually entering into a relationship with fear. And in those relationships where there is fear, there is no capability of growing with the person that you're with, because any idea or anything that you have in a situation, communication is going to be based in fear, which means that communication may be minimal or non-existent in those type of relationships. There are several types of trauma bonds. There is a generational trauma bond. Generational trauma bonds are trauma bonds that are passed down from generation to generation, and those trauma bonds can include, like, let's just say for like whooping your kids, or calling your kids out of their name, and then feeling like the child is supposed to be able to accept that and not have any emotions about it. So that is generational trauma bonding. So then you have friendship, trauma bonds and friendships. Trauma bonds and friendships are when you are establishing a friendship with a person, but you identify within that friendship based on similar traumatic experiences. So that will be two friends getting together after they had a breakup. Breakups are traumatizing. We don't really take it serious because we feel like people can do exactly what they want to do, which is true. However, we can't continue to disregard our emotional wellness or emotional well-being because it leads to other things. There is dating trauma bonds. Within the first 30 days of dating someone, there is the ability to form trauma bonds because when you initially meet someone, you begin to talk about the things that happened in your past. And the things that happened in your past I have to assume, were traumatic. So what happens is, when you're dating someone, you begin to think that this is your knight in shining armor, or this is your wife or your girl, but y'all have all these issues with communication and manipulation and rejection. However, you feel like, well, nobody's perfect, so we continue to stay in these cycles of relationships, right? Or dating, right? So now, once you're dating a person, and then there's the ability to, we make it exclusive. So now it's a relationship. So what happens is you take the trauma bonding that you had in dating and you bring it into a relationship with the same person. So when you're in a relationship, trauma bond is pretty much two people who were dating who decided to make the relationship exclusive, but it's based on their specific, similar traumatic experiences. So in a relationship trauma bond, this is where the underlying issues of our relationships stem. Because for one, those relationships are based in fear and not in love. And sometimes we begin to think that love is how someone feels about you. It's an immense feeling. It's an immense feeling, or it's something that you love can do all things. It's the greatest gift, which I understand where the context that they came from. However, when you get into these relationships that are trauma bonded, it is a roller coaster. It is absolutely a roller coaster. You're gonna go up and down, up and down. You're gonna go up a little bit, and then you're gonna coast a little bit, and boom, right back down to the emotional roller coaster. Trauma bonded relationships can be often categorized as abusive relationships because there is a component of domestic violence, which is emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, and psychological abuse, right? So when you have those things coupled into a relationship with two people who already had trauma, experiences of trauma from childhood, then you create a disaster. But we're not able to see that disaster because we are looking for the best thing for us from a fearful mindset. So even if the person is not good for us, we're gonna try to stick in there to make sure that this person changes. Then we become codependent on a person who is just as fearful as I am. And then we run when there's issues because we don't know how to communicate those issues. And within a relationship that is a trauma bond, then there are these gender-specific roles that have been ineffective in a sense. They aren't really producing cohesion in relationships. And it's like when we decide to have roles, and when we decide like who is the leader of the house. Remember I said spiritual abuse. When you're in a relationship that has spiritual abuse, which is again another trauma bond, then you have the perpetrator, a man or a woman that will utilize Christianity, the Bible, and any other spiritual ideations to use it for power and control. Like as a man, most men who are abusive will say that God told me that I'm the leader of the house and you need to listen to me, and my wife or my girlfriend should listen to me because I'm the leader. And in most cases, in those situations, when you have that type of man trying to lead you, that is a kid, because the maturity isn't where it needs to be. Because at the end of the day, in our relationships, in order for them to become better, we have to learn to break trauma bonds, right? So once we break them, and how do we break them? We simply do the opposite of what we have been taught. If you know that you saw daddy struggling to pay the bills, and while mom sat and not doing anything, or seen mom struggle and dad struggle and mom paying all the bills, if we know that that was ineffective, that it created these stressful things, then we have to do the opposite. That means that we have to pick partners who are, again, on the same page. We got to pick partners who understand that they have healing to do. And it's not saying that they are a bad person, but it's like making a decision to become a better version of self. Now, you know, we have this ideation that people love to be single. We weren't even designed to be single. But the problem is that we live in a society that does not really teach us how to interact in a healthy relationship. You can't flip on the TV channel to see a healthy relationship, and what I mean by that is, where are the TV shows that show you how to disagree with your significant other? Where are they? You don't see them. Why is it that we have to, it's like, I could go social media, right? Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. I could go on there right now and I can show you several different posts that are bashing men, and I can show you several posts that are bashing women. And everybody on social media is some type of expert in relationships. They always got the correct answer, but you never hear any of them talking about the healing that they need to do in their relationship or in other relationships. So You have relationship trauma bonds, and now that their relationship is a trauma bond, you ever wonder why people get married to people that they know aren't good for them? Trauma bonding. Trauma bonding. So when the relationship now is we're gonna make it official. I love you. I'm not going nowhere. No matter how many times I hit on you and call you out your name or make you feel like you're less of a person, I'm gonna be with you because I love you. So now we're married. Now you have marital trauma bonds. So now in marital trauma bonds, that is an excessive level of control, but it's gonna feel like, oh, he cares or she cares. But it's an excessive level of manipulation and gaslighting. Because when people see the term marriage, make people feel like you're now my possession, my wife, my husband. My wife, my husband. But the thing is, a lot of that still is traumatic. So out of all of the trauma bonds that I've named, the foundation of trauma goes back to the foundation of this country. We were taught to be divided. We were taught to not communicate. We were taught to dislike each other for various reasons. We were taught that material things is what makes a person a good person. Like, oh, I got a good man because he got a Mercedes, or I got a good woman, she got a BMW, man, she got all the money. Ooh, she's a good girl, right? But at the end of the day, what can you build with that person? You can't build anything with a person when you have a trauma bond with them because you're going to be focused on the trauma. Another thing that we don't really talk about is love. What is it? Why is it such the greatest gift? If it's such the greatest gift, then why do people use it as a weapon? It's not really the greatest gift. It's a gift that can be beneficial for the right person using it the right way. But in the grand scheme of things, you will not have love unless you have peace. You cannot love a person if you're not at peace with yourself. You can't love yourself if you're not at peace with yourself. That means that those insecurities, those things that you feel like are just wrong with you, if you focus on them, you'll never focus on what's right with you. And then that in itself is another trauma bond. There is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out all fear. And one who lives in fear lives in torment. How can you love a person if you ain't at peace and you're living in torment? Trauma. Trauma. So when people say, oh, I love you, I can hear the word trauma come off the tongue. Trauma. Because it's different from a person who's walking on their healing journey, a person who is healed, or a person who acknowledges that it's okay to make mistakes and this is what I'm doing to correct them. It's a difference versus somebody who just say they're doing something. 9 times out of 10, when a person stays in an abusive relationship, it's because they have been trauma bonded and they're hoping that their person is going to change for them. No matter what, they're going to see that they can do the littlest thing. Oh my God, he took the trash out today. He's not going to be abusive no more. Oh, he washed the car. You know, he's not going to call me on my name. Trauma bonds also have a foundation within them of emotional abuse. Words hurt. I don't care what nobody say. The way that you use your words with your partner can determine how bad that relationship is. Trauma bonding. I forgot to mention there's sexual trauma bonding. You know, when you may have had sexual abuse or just enjoy sex, right? But then you bond with another person through sexual activity or nonverbal and physical sexual stuff, right? So then the only thing that you see in that relationship is sex. Yeah. Then it's like, I could do something wrong. I could have terrible etiquette. I could have terrible, I don't respect you. But as long as we go have sex, then we are okay. We're fine. We good. But at the end of the day, there's another form of trauma bonding. But see, the thing is, and I'm gonna wrap it up, but the best thing that we could do to limit abusive behaviors, and I keep going back to that word abusive because we live in a society and we have relationships that over 95% of them have some type of abusive behavior. But what happens is we don't want to acknowledge that because it seems like it's something wrong or it's weak, or I didn't get to keep a man, or I can't keep a man because it's a problem, because that's what it looks like. So people don't look at you like, man, this young lady left 3 men. They don't look like these 3 men were abusive. They're like, well, what's wrong with you? That is a problem. Look at guys are like, oh man, you had 4, 5 different women, boy, you like to keep them. But they're not looking at that this man is a problem. This man he's just causing carnage everywhere he goes, because he too is living in trauma. We talked briefly about the situation with the man that killed his 3 kids in the car. What I saw in that video was pain. It was very hurtful to watch it, because I just can't imagine. I'm on Facebook Live telling somebody that I just told my son that I'm gonna kill him. Then minutes later, they find out that he did it. So then he talks about the relationship that he had with his child's mom. And I know they're gonna be like, hey, we know they're gonna it's gonna be somewhere down there, there's a victim, right? There's several victims in this situation. But what this should be is a learning experience, that we have to look at both sides of every situation. You know, as long as we continue to look at one side, we never stop this type of stuff from happening. 3 kids had no chance of defending themselves. And he complained about, you gave me an STD, you messing with this friend, and all I wanted to do was talk to you. And that's how you gonna treat me? Oh, you scared of me? Yeah, okay, that kind of stuff, right? Of course, it was terrible that he shot his own kids and himself. But now, what can we do so that this don't happen again? We gotta have a safe place for men to be able to express their emotions. We gotta have a place where men can actually be like, you know what, that hurt me, because all you hear about a man is, I am pissed off. I'm pissed. And as a man, you know what, we can walk around with our homeboys and we can say, man, my girl called me out my name. They say, well, what you do, man? Man, I got pissed off and I hit the wall and I left. And then the dude like, man, I feel you, man. Instead of saying, hey, bro, didn't that hurt? How did it really make you feel? Come here, man, you need a hug, man. Hey, that's not right. It is not rocket science, but we got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere. 9 times out of 10, when you got a man that don't know how to express his emotions, is because, one, he's tried to, and he got a negative response from him. Like I've seen woman after woman, hey, ooh, he a punk. Like, ooh, I cannot talk to their homegirls. Man, I cannot stand him. Ooh, he's so soft. He's sensitive. He weak. Oh, I can't stand him. But you got a son. You telling your son that he can't express his emotions. You can't do that. And just as well as we want to make sure that we are taking care of our women, we got to take care of each other. That's just the bottom line. And taking care of each other is being a safe place for us to be vulnerable, for us to be able to talk about everything that we need to talk about in a way that we can express it. Because I promise you, if somebody would have talked to him, I don't think it would have ended that way. I think that being unheard is a very, very important concept in relationship that has to stop. Because when you feel like you're unheard, that means you're gonna do whatever in your power to get the attention, even if it means taking your own kid's life. And no matter how many people say, oh, he shouldn't have did that, yeah, we can say that, but we don't know what was going through this man's head. We were not there. But I know one thing, he felt unheard. And that's a man saying that. I know how I feel that you telling somebody that you are hurting somewhere or you going through a lot, and they tell you, man up, man up. How I'm gonna man up when I'm man down? I'm hurt.
That's good.
You know, I'm hurt. So for any man out there that could potentially need to watch this, I want you to know that you have to understand something. You are a human first. You are a human first. That means you have the same exact feelings as your significant other, your mama, your sister, any woman in your family. You have the same exact emotions, and that does not make you less of a man when you express the hurt that you feel. And I do not let's just stop with the pissed off stuff. Let's talk about it. Let's be real. We're gonna do other stuff like this to make sure that we are helping our communities and communities to be better. So I'm gonna get over here. I'm Clint Patton Sr., relationship coach, trauma coach, and author. Later.
Yay!